So hello good people and Happy New Year 2022. This is the beginning of a good and interesting year for us at Optiven Institute. And today we are privileged to have the opportunity to talk to one of the greatest men that this country has ever produced. His name is George Wachiuri. He's the founder and group CEO of the Optiven group. And I would like to just give him an opportunity to introduce himself. So, good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon. Good to see you after a while.
Yes.
And we are happy that God has given us another brand new year, 2022. And we are extremely grateful. My name is George Wachiuri. I serve at Optiven. I'm the team leader here, and I'm happy that Optiven has been empowering people, offering job opportunities for people. We have an objective of offering 30,000 jobs. And we are also very active in doing the foundational work. And I'm happy that you are part and parcel of the Optiven success. You support Optiven.
Yes.
And we are happy that God has given us the energy, the power to serve, because at the end of the day, we were created to serve other people. We are created to add value to the planet, add value to the body of Christ. And I am very humbled that I am here with you.
Awesome, awesome. That's a perfect introduction from George, but I want him to go a little bit further. There's a book you wrote, Soaring Like an Eagle, which tells us about your story and where you've come from. So maybe in a nutshell, you can just take us through what you share in this book and where you are now. Just your story in a nutshell.
Wow, the reason why I wrote this book is to encourage, to inspire our people out there. You know, when they see George Wachiuri today, and they do not know the story, they may not appreciate what God can do, that God can pick you from zero to another level, to another level, to another level. And this particular book really inspires people because it's about my story. People who know my story is that, you know, we were brought up in a village like
Indeed, I became inspired when I read this book.
Thank you. It's extremely inspiring, and it's basically to tell people that you can come from the village, you can come from any kind of location, you know, you can come from poverty, and God can really lift you up. I remember when we were growing up, you know, I lost my father when I was only 7 years old, and my mother was not well educated, and we were 8 of us, and life was very tough. It was very difficult even to get food to eat, leave alone fees to go to school. And I remember, you know, growing up, all of us, sometimes we could miss breakfast, sometimes we could miss lunch, we could miss supper. You know, eating was like a luxury. You eat one meal, you don't know when next time you're going to get a meal. And I remember, you know, it was not 1 year, not 2 years, quite a number of years, you know, going to high school. We did not know the importance of education. I remember the first time I did class 8, I did not pass because there was no motivation, no person to look after to say I want to be like so and so. The only thing we were doing at home is just counting cars because our home is near the highway. And when I failed, I was told by my mother, now you are now a candidate of being a hands boy. You know, you either repeat class 8 or you become a hands boy. But me, I knew for sure that even if I passed, there was no fees. But one time I remember my brother was in school, and one time he came with I remember very well, with a trouser. It has some black stripes, and I said, wait a minute, that means if you go to high school, you are bought a trouser like this one. And that one inspired me to work very hard. So I went back to class 8 and I worked hard. And by the grace of God, when the exam came up, you know, I had women, you know, wakipiga mayoe, you know, they say Georgie is number 1, you know, and I was top in that particular class. And I was able to go to a high school. And going to high school was not easy. Because I remember the fees was 3,080. And we did 2 halambis. People coming to contribute money, 5 shillings, 20 shillings, and we only raised 800 shillings. So that's the money I used to go to high school. And over 4 years, you are either home or you're in school because the fees was never sufficient.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that the members of the community really contributed towards my education, because every time my mother could call for Harambe, remember those things, Harambe was very popular. And the people would come and contribute and raise some money to go back to school. And that's why, Moinamo, you see that I'm very passionate in terms of supporting people. I'm very passionate in terms of supporting the orphans. If you look at our foundation today, you know, all the money we generate from this particular book, we give to the foundation. Because I know that particular child who is an orphan, a child who cannot get school fees, you never know, this child could be the next president. And for us at Optiven Foundation, we are able to support hundreds and hundreds of these people through scholarship. And it came from there, because I know that that 5 shillings, 10 shillings, 20 shillings contributed to by a local person made me go to school. And of course, by the grace of God, I went through Form 4. And I knew for sure that I either pass or I go back to Kieni, where I come from. And Kieni was very dry by then. Nowadays, at least, we have some water. But those days was no water. We were going to fetch water 10 kilometers away. And when I was in Form 4, I was wondering, which course do I do? And since I had no mentor, you know, I did not know what is a BCom, what is Bachelor of Education, what is medicine. I did not know, because I've never seen a doctor before, other than the nurse in our village. And when people were writing courses, I saw a friend of mine who wrote BCom. I said, wait a minute.
Sounded nice.
The name sounded so nice, B.com. And then I had written on my form to select university, Bachelor of Education, because my father was a teacher. So I knew I wanted to be a teacher. But when I saw BCom, I removed what I had selected. I put BCom. And that's why I landed in Wakabete campus. I did the Bachelor of Commerce, and I was there for 4 years, and those 4 years were tough, Mr. Moinamo. They were tough. Those were the days that people were paying fees to the university. You used to buy your own food, remember? I do not have pocket money. And when I went there, I saw very clean people, very neat people. And I said, wait a minute, I'm a boy from the village, under the weather. And these people are very neat. But a thought came, what can I do to these people so that they are able to give me some support to finish my education? And a thought just came, what if I take photos? So I talked to my brother who bought me Ayashika camera, the one for Kuzungusha. And every time go for missions to preach, you know, when the people are getting born again, I was capturing the moment. I remember one time we went for a mission in Kilifi, and I produced about 15 films. Those days were films. Remember the one for you go and produce. And I sold, for the first time I sold 20,000 inside my small cubicle in Wakabete. And I was counting that money, and I was wondering, hey, is this all my money? Is this real? Is this real? And the thought came to my mind is, let me rush home. I buy my mother, my late mother, some unga and some sugar. So I went. So when I went home, she asked me, hey, in Greek language, are you going to really study
when you're doing all these things?
Hey, are you a thief? Are you stealing? I don't know. I'm not stealing. I'm doing business. And she was scared. You're doing business in the university? And she was very scared. To get a long story short, that's how I raised my fees. And other than taking photographs, also discovered the brethren, those who were born again, they like being neat. Maybe that's why I wear a tie. But I discovered who washes their clothes. I started washing their clothes and ironing them. That was my second business. That business covered in the book. I was a kinyozi. Moinamo, I can shave you. I was shaving people. You know, I was shaving people. Every head was 10 shillings. And the final business, I converted my small room to be like a library. I used to call it social library. You come read a magazine, you pay me a shilling. You are ready to return, I charge you 50 cents. And I never lacked money in campus. And I remember the time I was finishing Wakabete. Then Professor Gishaga said, the most entrepreneurial student is George Wachiuri. I was given a trophy. That's how entrepreneur started. But remember now, years are going. So I finished Form 4, 4th year. And I imagined, George, are you going back to Kieni Nyeri, where poverty whistles? I said, no. What do I do?
Poverty is tangible.
It's tangible. You can touch it. In those days, people are saying there were no jobs. I think there was a story all over in 1999, 98, 97, 99. No jobs. So I panicked. So I picked my 4 friends. I told them, we must look for a job in Nairobi. Those days were no emails. You have to really write application physically. I remember writing 300 applications.
Wow.
Yani mia tatu.
Wow.
My friends did 300. Another friend did 300. Another friend 300. So every time you go to drop, me was given Babadogo to drop letters and town center. You drop 4 letters.
Oh, okay.
Those are actually
for each of your friends. Wow.
Then our friends, other friends were located in that area. So you keep dropping. And let me tell you, I remember going to one of the stations here. I was chased away by a watchman. There are no jobs here. But I pleaded, please, these 4 letters, just take them to the human resource.
Yes.
That's how I got my first job.
Wow.
Called for an interview, hired as an accountant. And that's why I tell young people that never confess negatively. Don't say there are no jobs.
Yeah.
Believe jobs are there and apply. And of course, coming out here is starting businesses.
Yes.
You know, I started very many businesses that did not pick. I remember the first 10 years I did over 15 businesses that did not pick. I was doing shampoo. I was hawking shampoo in Gala.
Yes.
I had a beauty shop in Gala, that clothes shop.
Yeah.
I was doing water packaging. I was conned by my partner, went with the money. And I did car hire. You know, car hire was very challenging. I remember one time I saw my car on a television that it was, the guy was arrested carrying a bag with my car because I had hired to him. The car arrested. One guy was shot. The car was in Naivasha police station. The car was there. You are seeing it on television. What happens? There, I felt like collapsing. My stomach was full of water. And sure to 8 in the morning, I was arrested. Because I was told, this is your car. It was carrying illegal items. Produce. There's one guy who escaped. One was arrested. And thank God, Muinamo, for something called contract. We had signed a contract with these guys. If we had no contract, sahi ningekuwa kamiti. I'm telling you. Sahi ningekuwa kamiti. And I always tell people, every time you do an agreement, have a contract. The contract saved me because they discovered I'm a business of hiring these cars.
Yes.
That's why I escaped. Of course, I slept in a cell for a day. And that business was very challenging. As if that was not enough. I had another premium. The guy came, forged the logbook, and sold it.
What?
That's a story of another day. Is in that particular book. And then I closed the business. So the business collapsed. I went to tours and travel. Post-election, business collapsed. And other businesses that I've described in this particular book. But the reason why I described all those 15 failures is because when you fail, don't give up. Keep moving. Keep going. And even today, that Optiven now is a very successful company. I flash back and say, wait a minute. The success of every company, or individual, or career, takes prayers. It takes God. It takes humbleness. It takes realization that you are not a professor of business, but you need God's favor. And that's why we find that Optiven today is among the top admired brand. Last year we were voted as the most admired brand in Kenya today. We also given an award for a company with the best leadership. Why? Because there's that favor of God. And that's why I tell people that whatever you do, always involve God. And I think this idea of partnering with God, even praying for your people before you hire them to get the right people, and supporting the less fortunate, especially orphans and widows, is the beginning of God's favor. And the story is deeper in my book, and the people who read this book and they don't shed tears, I describe them as the brothers and sisters of Hitler. Because you read that particular book, within 2 hours you are finished, and you say, for sure, if George made it,
I can make it.
I can make it. If George made it, I will make it. And this book has been inspiring a lot of people across the globe. I went to the US the other day, and a lady came crying and said, I read your book, I cried, I can't believe that the same boy from Kieni is able to now come and market properties in the US. That is what God can do.
Awesome. Yeah, at this point I want to say that if you want to support the work that the Optiven Foundation does, this is one way through which you can support by getting a copy of this book. This will go a long way in helping very many less fortunate people have a chance at life, the same way that George was able to do. Optiven now is like you're saying, a very well-known brand, a very huge brand in this country. But it has not always been like this. So what has the journey been like for you? Because, you know, people tend to think that I will start and within 6 months I blow up and become a phenomenon.
Wow.
So what's the story behind Optiven?
Wow, let me say that when you look at Optiven, you just see what resilience can do.
Yeah.
Because I remember the first 10 years, we were not making any money.
Yes.
We could not break even. 2008, we literally closed. At some point, we lost the money through a lab deal. We lost 5 million.
Wow.
And life became very difficult. No rent, no money to pay anybody, and it was a one-man show.
Yeah.
And it was very tough. But by the grace of God, we were able to come back, you know, from a very humble beginnings. Agency, buy 1 plot, 2 plots. We partnered with the bank, and then now Optiven started growing.
Yeah.
And for the last maybe 12, 13 years, we have really seen the hand of God, because we have been able now to do many projects. Right now we are about 400 employees.
Wow.
And we have seen this company grow, but it has not been easy. But I attribute, of course, one of the things is the fear of God, partnering with God. I also believe that when you focus, like now we are very focused in terms of what we do, you know, empowering Kenyan people to have homes.
Yeah.
And good leadership, and getting the right tenant, talents, not because you know somebody or because it's your relative, getting the right people to work for the vision, and the people buying the vision. Like for us, we say that our vision is to be the champions of socio-economic transformation. Economic means we are providing jobs, we are paying taxes, we are able to empower people who work with Optiven. We don't call them staff, we call them partners, because they are partners with Optiven. And the social aspect, now the foundation. We are able to contribute 5% of our money to the foundation, whereby we support the scholarship program, we support the old people. And I know Moinamo the other day, you saw the lady we are giving land called Jocelyn Leshao.
Yes.
You know, the lady who had cancer, you know, she married at 13 years, you know, she has a child with cerebral palsy. And right now, this particular year, we are building a nice maisonette for her. So when you do this kind of social work, and of course, we are also very passionate with this 5%. We have been doing Go Green agendas, whereby we are also taking care of our planet. Last year, we did the Go Green Awards, whereby we are awarding people who take care of our planet. Maybe they are recycling, maybe they are planting trees, maybe they are harvesting water, the houses they are building. And this one has really supported Optiven in terms of our packaging, not only making money. In fact, they say that the role of an entrepreneur like you is not to make money. The role of an entrepreneur is to create opportunities for other people. The role of an entrepreneur is to create jobs. The role of an entrepreneur is to make this world a better place than they found it. And that's what Optiven is all about. So we are happy when you see we are hiring more people, we are adding value to people, we are supporting the communities, and I'm happy that that's the secret of the growth of Optiven. Right now, by the grace of God, we have really grown. We are growing. We believe that this year, 2022, is the year of 3 times growth. Awesome. And I'm happy that other than doing business in the borders of Kenya, we are opening our office in DR Congo.
Interesting.
I was there about 3 weeks ago, and I'm happy that we are going to start real estate in Congo. We have done all the paperwork, and I'm happy that now Optiven is looking at Africa. In fact, we say that by the year in the next 20 years, we must be in 20 African countries. Wow. And we already started this year, 2022. We are hoping that as the time goes by, the company will keep expanding. And now the company is bigger than George Wachiuri, because you know, we have the structures, we have brighter people than George Wachiuri, you have better people than me, and that's the only way that the company can exist, can outlive the founders. And we are looking at maybe Optiven at 1,000 years to come, 2,000 years to come, and we can only do this if we are able to divorce ourselves from the company, and we let professionals run the company. Right now, since you came, Mr. Moinamo, have you seen any phone ringing?
No.
People don't need me. Customers don't need me. There are people better than George Wachiuri here
to do that,
who can handle the customers. And we are happy that by the grace of God, we have been able to keep moving as an organization.
Awesome. Awesome. The gist of today's conversation is about the real estate value chain. There are very many points at which people can make money through real estate. So as you answer this next question, I want you to think about how Optiven has been making money and is making money through real estate. But I also want you to talk about maybe the other aspects of the real estate value chain, which maybe Optiven is not doing, but these are opportunities that are available that people can take advantage of in as far as real estate is concerned to make money going into the future.
Wow, that's very interesting because real estate is huge.
Yes.
It is big. That's why sometimes I laugh when people talk about property bubble. I don't see it because the population is increasing. You know, the other day I was in Turkey.
Yes.
And I saw this Istanbul city. You know, the city is about 183 kilometers in length and 18 kilometers in width. The whole place is development.
That's huge.
When you look at our city of Nairobi, it
huge.
is too small. That means we are just scratching the earth. And for us at Optiven, we do a very small portion. We only do land development.
Yes.
Whereby we buy land that has no value. We do the infrastructure, we plant the trees, we do carbon roads, we do the water, we do the solar street lighting, we plant the trees, we subdivide it and sell, and then we have a company that build. So that's a very small portion.
Yes.
Because if you look at the real estate, we are talking about residential real estate. There are people who are expert in building homes.
Yes.
There are other people who do commercial real estate. They go out there in Southern Bypass, for example. They do warehousing, and then they lease it.
Yes.
There are other people who own land, and they are leasing this land. I know there are people who are watching us.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a property in along maybe Mau Mau Road that Uhuru is doing, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta. Maybe you have land along Keno Marwa. Don't sell it, lease it.
Yes.
People are leasing 20 years, they are leasing 15 years, and you can be able to make money through leasing. Look at Kitengela today.
Yes.
The people of Kitengela, they are no longer selling land. You're going there, you sign an agreement for 20 years.
Yes.
If 1 acre, you pay 200 a month. Those are opportunities. Look at the people who have done interior design. There are people who are doing homes, but they are not an expert in the interior design. That's a value chain.
Yes.
You can come to Optiven and say, George, me, I'm an expert on interior design. This is my work. And you make money. There are people who make money.
Yes.
Look at the people who have done the architecture, for example. They design a house for you. It's part of the real estate.
Yes.
And they are paid handsomely. Look at the people, Muinamo, who does plumbing.
Yes.
Real estate is crazy. You know, right now in Kenya, getting a good plumber it's not easy.
A tough task.
But our people out there, they are saying, I want a white collar job.
There are no jobs.
You can be able to be a good plumber that when people think about plumbing, they only think about you because you're a good plumber.
Yes.
Look at people developing schools. You know, developing schools infrastructure is real estate.
Yes.
You can say my business will be developing structures for schools and lease these structures. There are people who are doing it.
Yes.
Muinamo, look at the hospitals.
Wow.
Right now in our counties, we have no sufficient hospitals. We need an investor who is watching us. You go out there in Eldoret, you come to Nyeri, where I come from, and say, I am leasing 30 acres. Do the infrastructure for a hospital. And then say, wow, the hospital is here. Are there doctors who want to lease?
Yes.
Hey, they just come and lease.
Amazing.
So, Muinamo, real estate, this one, it is so huge, it's so massive. That you're not even able to exploit it. Look at the restaurants. A good example is what we did at Kitengela, GMC Place.
Yes. Beautiful
the
place.
most beautiful entertainment center in the entire Nairobi metropolis. 8 acres development. When we did it, my friends called me and said, George, you are crazy. You think Kitengela you can get customers? Muinamo, let me assure you, every Sunday we host 1,000 people. Over Christmas and New Year, we locked the gates. It was embarrassing. We could not cope with the numbers.
There were too many.
Yani tulifuga gates. There were too many. You ugefikiria the Uhuru Park. People are coming to Uhuru Park. Why? Real estate. And maybe you are there. You have idle land somewhere.
Yes.
And you are saying, what can I do with it? You know, the other day we bought land in Kajiado, 200 acres.
Yes.
There's a project that we are doing that failed. But now we are doing entertainment center there. Far from Nairobi, where people will be going there for swimming. You can go for bush dinners. And opportunities for real estate, they are there. There are many. In fact, they say that the contribution of real estate in Kenya is more than 11%, the GDP.
Wow.
And they have not counted other aspects of real estate. So we want to encourage our people that real estate is real. You can be able to thrive through real estate.
Wow. Awesome. So what would you tell a young person who's just getting started out to do if they want to tap into the real estate value chain? And how can Optiven help such a young person in that regard?
How can Optiven support? We do a lot of mentorship. We do a lot of mentorship, in 3 mentorship.
Yes.
And it's free. One can join, and we do 2 lessons per month. And I've seen people joining the mentorship, and they're doing very well.
Yeah.
You know, and you can join. The other thing is that if you want to start real estate, of course you can't be like Optiven, because Optiven, we have relationships, we have financial relationships,
Yes.
we have customers relationship. You can start like George Wachiuri. I started as an agent,
Yes.
whereby I sell your property,
Somebody's property,
you
yeah.
pay me commission, because as you do that, you're also gaining experience. Number 2, you can do groups.
Yes.
You can combine 2 friends, 3 friends, contribute money, and start small, and then you start growing it. Number 3, you can be able to save little money in the circle,
Yes.
pick that money from the circle, and you can start your own real estate.
Yes.
It could be agency, it could be property management, and how you start it is very easy.
Yeah.
Have a nice website, an email,
Yeah.
a good phone, and you are good
Front office.
to go. Exactly.
The front office
The
is
front
done.
office.
I like that. I like
Yes,
that. I
as
like
simple as that. And that's how we started.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, any pitfalls that somebody needs to be aware of if they're getting into real estate? You talked at some point about how somebody disappeared with your money. So, what are some of the things that somebody needs to watch out for so that they protect themselves?
Yeah, I think real estate is equally, they say the higher the returns, the higher the risk. And I'm sure people who are watching me from real estate, many times we have lost money, even Optiven.
Yes.
We have lost money.
Yes.
It's only that we at Optiven, when we lose money, we don't pass it back to the customer. We pay up, we refund people. And because of the nature of our country,
Yeah.
and I'm happy that the government of Uhuru Kenyatta is automating titles.
Yeah.
Remember before that, a property could have 4 or 5 titles, and many people have lost money. So one of the big risks is losing hard-earned cash, either from to people who are unscrupulous,
Yeah.
or people who are generally, you know, Muinamo, there are people whose their career is conmen, and they are watching us.
That's all they do.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
They are con women. And when they con you, they smile. Even us, like now, we are doing adverts on news on various media.
Yes.
Last week, I dealt with a con man, and the con man conned me 40,000.
Oh.
He says, "I am a Catholic priest." Of course, you know my story. I want to be a Catholic priest. I wanted to be one.
Yes.
And I am feeding
So
people
it's a
in Garissa.
Soft spot.
I have a friend who is coming to buy these particular gardens, and the friend is coming from a place. Me, I'm a father. I don't have money. Send me fare. Of course, it's a father. He's Christian.
Yes.
I sent fare.
Yes.
Oh, you know, I'm diabetic. I can't even read. You know, did you send the money? I said, yes, I sent you 2,000. Then he says, now we are coming with the customer. Please, you know me, I don't have money. Send 10,000 for fuel.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
coming with the customer. I send the money. I wanted to discover. I asked my guy in the CID, check where this number is calling from. He's committing.
Oh.
So it's no longer in Garissa. The guy is
No
here.
longer a
So
father.
these are some of the things that, as a business person,
Yeah.
have the intuition. Were it not that I discovered early, maybe I would have lost 100,000
You'd have
or
continued
50,000.
sending and sending and
Sending. And those are some of the risks that an entrepreneur must be ready. The other thing is risk of capital erosion.
Yeah.
You can buy a property today, and maybe you buy this property in the wrong place. That's why they say that the best place to buy a property is place, location, location. I've seen people buying properties at 70,000 somewhere in Marindi. You ask the person, by the way, this property for 75,000. How far is it from Marindi town? They tell you, you drive for 6 hours.
What?
Now where is that? So even as you do real estate, location, location. That's why when you find Optiven, all our properties are near places you can drop from a matatu, you can walk to your property. And we are intentional because we want our Kenyan people to settle, not only money. And I'm happy that our customers are excited.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. So the Optiven Group has now diversified into very many other industries, hospitality, I don't know what else, but what I want to find out from you is how has your success in real estate contributed to your ability to go into all these other areas?
I think the motivation for doing other things is our objective number one, to create opportunities for other people.
Yes.
We have a target of creating 30,000 jobs by the year 2030. So we ask ourselves, can Optiven real estate really create 30,000 jobs? The answer is a no.
Yes.
And we discovered, are there industries that when you invest here, you hire like 100 people?
Yes.
We discovered hospitality.
Yes.
The first one, we did it in Karen, 100 people.
Yes.
Ego Peak Spa.
Awesome.
The other one, Panarot, is 50 people. The other one, Kitengera, 200 people. And we are opening much more.
Wow.
And the drive is to see these young people having something to do. You may not have a break even immediately, but remember when you go to that facility, Muinamo, unaona watu kama mia, they are working there.
Yes.
What do you feel?
Fulfillment.
You feel good.
Yes.
And that's why we went to diversification, to hospitality.
Yeah.
And good enough, it has picked so well. I think it's because we tithe.
Correct.
Yes,
Yeah. As we almost come to a close, if you had to do it all over again, is there anything you would change and why?
Yeah, I think if I start business as a freshman,
Yes.
this failure many times, I think I know why I failed.
Uh-huh.
Number one, I had no mentor.
Yeah.
I was just doing things. Number two, I was not properly focused. I was hearing businesses in Kahaya, you go to Kahaya. You borrow money, you go to Kahaya. You hear businesses in tours and travel, you go there. And if I could start all over again, I would really focus. The vision must be clear. And I will ensure that I'm not doing it to make money, but to make an impact. And I would always look for somebody I can ask questions. They say a mentor or a coach, or somebody you can be able to talk to, and you are able to be guided.
Yes.
Maybe that's what I can do differently. But in terms of business, I think I'll still do real estate.
The same business.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what would be like your final parting shot or something you want to say and to leave with anybody who will be watching this later? What is the one thing that you would want to tell them? Just a word of advice.
Wow, I think I want to thank all those who have been watching this show, and to encourage you that when God created you, God knew you. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5. He knew you even before you were born. And God has given you special abilities. In fact, if you read Deuteronomy 8:18, it is Him who gives you power to create wealth.
Yes.
That means God has given you power to create wealth. That power, that ability is your thinking capacity. That this head you have is for thinking. You sit in there and think, what can I do to my community? What can I do with my life? Maybe you are a student out there. What can you do to shine in terms of your academics? You have been given that power. The other ability God has given you is emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Sometimes we become too emotional and we lose the focus. And then another ability God has given us is ability to relate with people.
Yes.
Value every single person you come across. They could be low, they could be middle, they could be higher. And then finally, all the time, be humble. Even when God brings resources, like the way He has done with the Optiven. Remember, these are not your resources. The resources belongs to the owner. The owner is God Himself.
Yes.
And God expects us to serve Him with these resources.
Yes.
So today you may get a very good career. Remember, that career is God-given. Serve God in that career, in that business. The money you have is not your money. You are just a channel. It's like a pipe that is passing water.
Yes.
You're just passing that particular water. And that water must be able to quench somebody else's thirst. Because if God gives you resources, it is me, myself, and I. It's called the unholy trinity.
Yes.
You cannot go very far. If you look at the businesses that succeed most, business like Safaricom, for example,
Yes.
Like Equity Bank, they give a lot. That's my advice for people who are watching this particular show. And with all these kind of things, with proper focus, we can be able to succeed.
Awesome. So that marks the end of our conversation for today on Unleash Hour. And I want to thank each and everyone who is taking time to watch this and to go through this. The most important thing is what are you going to pick from this conversation and implement in your life in 2022 and beyond? Because at the end of the day, these conversations are meant to help you adjust and do things better. So thank you very much, Mr. Wachiuri, for your time and for every word of wisdom you have shared.
Thank you.
We look forward to many more opportunities and many more chances to talk and do a lot more. So thank you so much.
Thank you.